Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is your host, Tobe Nwigwe, and you are now tuned into Toradcast. For all of the brand new listeners out there listening in to our show for the very first time, welcome. For all of you returning listeners coming back for another weekly dose of Toradcast controversy, welcome back. Now say it with me, y'all. At Toradcast, you can take everything we say with a grain of salt. We simply just want to add some flavor to your meal. So if we are doing that, then we are doing our job. Today's episode comes from a place where when it comes to how we move in life and the things that we do, we always find ourselves having to navigate in order to avoid certain people. But what good does that do us? So we're really going to talk about that and really try and bring a focus and bring that to the forefront. So without further ado, today's episode topic is living for the wrong people. This is Toradcast. Let's get it. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Toradcast. Again, I'm your host, Tobe Nwigwe, and this is our 41st episode. There's nothing special planned for this episode, but I just want to say that we are 41 episodes in, and it's the beginning of October, and fall is here. The temperatures are starting to get cooler, and I can finally break out my sweaters. I am a sweater guy. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to finally be at a point to where during this crazy year we can finally be close to ending 2020 and hoping, here's to hoping that the next year is going to be better. I really hope it is. I can't do a 2020 part 2. I can't do a 2020.2. So yeah, but anyway, let's go ahead and take care of our housekeeping details, and then there's a couple things I want to mention, and then we'll get right into the topic. So if you would like to take our show with you on the go, just know that we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Podchaser, Castbox, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, Deezer, and YouTube. Toradcast is also on Throne. Throne is a free live messaging application that allows us here at Toradcast to exclusively reach our listeners. Make sure to sign up if you'd like to keep the conversations going after the episode. If you're looking for natural oils for ultimate hydration and care for your hair and skin, hit up the Resilient Lotus at www.theresilientlotus.com. Also, if you are a lover of authentic chunky salsas, make sure to reach out to Morenitas Salsitas. All this information, as always, is going to be in our episode notes. And before we get into the topic, just a couple of things. Our Facebook page, our Toradcast Facebook page finally went up. I know it's been pretty much a year in the making, and I should have had this up a long time ago. I hope that y'all forgive me. I appreciate everybody that has been showing love to this Facebook page. We're already at 130 plus people who have liked the page. And so going forward, Toradcast episodes are going to be going specifically to that Facebook page. So fb.me/Toradcast, or probably facebook.com/Toradcast. If you go into Facebook and type in the search bar Toradcast, it will be the very first one that pops up. So look for the big yellow logo. Make sure to like it, make sure it appears at the top of your news feed, so that way as things continue to happen and we post our episodes, you'll see them first thing. So very, very glad to have that actually out there now. And last but not least, probably the news that I'm most excited about. We have a new Patreon supporter. This week, Betty Thomas decided to go on the Toradcast journey with us and grace us with a sponsorship in a Patreon under the Stay Certain tier. And so, Betty, I just want to say thank you very much for trusting us and for supporting us and for lending us your time, your ear, and allowing us the opportunity to create this content because of people like you, to be able to have this platform and know that you are one of those people who are making this exactly what it is. And so I just want to say thank you, as well as to all of the other patrons who are continuing to support every month. And I can't wait to share the things in store that I have for you, so that way, you know, just to give you more appreciation and show you all more love, because y'all are the ones who are really keeping Toradcast afloat. So thank you all. I appreciate all of your support. Betty, once again, thank you very much for your patronage and for just jumping on the bandwagon and you know, making this show exactly what it is. So thank you once again. I just wanted to tell you that, so that way, as you hear this episode, you'll know that I appreciate you. All right, y'all. So now let's go ahead and get into the topic. So we're talking about living for the wrong people. Now, when I say this actually comes from a standpoint of how we are and what we tend to do when faced with certain unsavory figures. But I guess before I get into that, what I really want to attack first is the fact that this type of mindset, this type of thought process, I have often seen it when, it comes from men who are trying to justify the way that a woman is treated. And this is the base level, like the foundation for this entire topic. And so I think about back when I was, you know, not the best person, when I was so caught up in my religion and my naivete, to where it really began to give me this tunnel vision as far as how I saw people and how I justified people being treated. So for example, you know, like the girls out here who'd be in the clubs, like, you know, the mini skirts, the halter tops, or the whatever, you know, whatever it was they were wearing, like the very suggestive clothing. It could be, you know, the low cut blouses, or, you know, whatever it was, you know, the apple bottom jeans, like all of it, you know, and then looking at them and using their method of dress as a way of justifying whether or not they do deserve to be treated well or don't deserve to be treated well based on the clothes that they're wearing. And so that's the basis of where this particular topic comes from, because I remember back then, you know, the way I used to look at people, the way that I used to just kind of give them my 2 cents based on face value without really actually knowing the person, which was incredibly wrong of me. But, you know, going back and seeing that, you know, some of the greatest people that I've ever encountered, you know, end up not necessarily fitting the archetype of person that I would think at that time would be able to give me knowledge or give me value. You know, that's another learning experience in and of itself. And so, of course, you know, the age-old phrase, you can't judge a book by its cover. And you can't, because judging it by the cover means that all you've done is you've just looked at the outside, looked at the spine, looked at the back, and that's about it. You don't dive into the actual pages. You don't actually read the full story. And your ignorance doesn't want you to, because your ignorance wants to protect itself. You know, there is an innate level of self-preservation that we have as people. And because we have that, there are a lot of things that we do not want to get ourselves into, because it will break us down to our very core. And we don't want that. We want to be able able to preserve the things about us that make us who we are and give us actual value and purpose. And if we can't do that, we find ourselves having a crisis. And so when it comes to me, just transitioning out of this mindset, I had to realize that, if I'm looking at women, if I'm wanting to be with a potential woman, I can't just judge them based on how they dress on a Friday or a Saturday night. And then I also can't be the kind of person to be like, oh, well, if they get treated horribly, or if all guys only want them for sex for this night, I can't sit here and be mad if I am the one who is also perpetuating that type of mindset, because there are a lot of people who look at women and what they wear and they use that as a justification of how they're treated. Like if you are dressed like a lady of the night, you get treated like a lady of the night. And I'm trying to use phrases that are more, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to be clean right now. I don't understand. Maybe because it's Sunday and I still have some attachment. Anyway, you know what? It's like if you dress like you fast, you're gonna get treated like you fast. And it's like really coming to the point where now in my adult head, realizing that everybody is going to have parts of themselves that they decide to show at different points. Not every woman who is deemed conservative wants to always be conservative. Not every woman who is a lot more liberal always wants to be liberal. There are many different facets to how we are as people, and every situation has its own occasion. And so I am not about to fault someone who, like, for example, if this was a woman who was a doctor. She is an actual doctor and she wants to go out to the club with her friends and put on, her little cocktail dress and whatnot and have her hair down and whatnot. And she's got her drinks and, and she's out there, just looking fine and feeling fine and having a good time. I'm not about to judge her because she decided to put on her cocktail dress and go out with her friends and shake a little booty. I'm not about to judge that, because who knows what she's actually goes through on a daily basis, being a doctor, and having to be responsible for the care of people's lives, the preservation of people's lives, and maybe she just wants to go out there and just release, and the thing is, she may want the attention, she may not want the attention, but for her, it's up to her as far as her decision making, as far as what she is wanting to do in these situations. And so at this point, I'm like, you know what? Do you, because you are living life for you. But there are going to be people who see her in the fact that, she is out here looking the way that she is, dancing the way that she is, drinking the drinks that she's drinking, and they're going to automatically classify her as if she is someone that is just automatically out here hoeing. Like, and that's one of the things that always bothered me, because, it's so funny because, a lot of us guys, we'll try and hit on somebody like that. We'll try and like get their number or get at them or whatever. And based on how they're looking and how they're presenting themselves, we're thinking that we are going to have some sort of interaction that's automatically going to lead into an encounter that's pleasurable for us. But, sometimes if we get rejected in that way, how quickly we turn into a monster and we start, saying, things that basically are just like the complete opposite of our actual interest in them, even though we're just butthurt because our egos were bruised. He's like, we say things like, oh, that's why he was ugly anyway, or, that's why this and that, trying to desperately and childishly assert this level of power that we think we have, but was just recently stomped on because our egos couldn't handle the fact that we just got rejected and what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. And so, oftentimes a lot of us men, we end up turning towards hating women. We end up turning towards demeaning women and then using who they are or what they're wearing or what they're doing against them in order to satisfy our broken ego. And that is something that I don't know. It's never, I've never been one to do that. I've seen it happen a lot, but oftentimes it's one of those things where it's just like, ew, like, can we really be more disgusting as a male, gender? Can we really be more disgusting? Because this is the kind of behavior that turns a lot of men into incels. And unfortunately, when it comes to incels, they do not have a moral compass, if I can, for the lack of a better term. They do not have a moral compass that really tells them that they need to make themselves better, as opposed to blaming women for the fact that they can't get laid. And so when it comes to them, these are the kinds of guys who are out here and they are looking to make every excuse plausible in the book as to why they are the way that they are, and they use women as those scapegoats. And they are the kinds of men who are going to use women in order to make themselves feel like they have some sort of purpose or value. And again, they're the kinds of people who are going to make the statements of, if a woman is wearing something like that, oh, well, how can she not expect for guys to want to have sex with her? Or, she's asking to be handled. She's asking to be raped, or, things like that. And so my question is, especially with statements like those, where do we get off? Where do we get off thinking that we have the authority to tell people that how they dress is a sign of how they should be treated or how they will be treated? Why is it that because we have a problem, we think that these people should be living for the very people that we're saying are going to attack them or hurt them or abuse them? They're not coming out living life for those people, but yet we are wishing those types of things upon those people because of what? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? And that's one of those questions that I have to ask. And there's a lot more that I want to go into, and I'm going to go into it here in just a few moments after our first break. But I just want that question to just sit in you all's minds for right now. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? We see someone, or especially us men, we're rejected by someone, or we think that a situation is supposed to go one way, but it doesn't. And then all of a sudden, we become evil, and we wish evil on these, beautiful creatures because they didn't give us the time of day that we wanted. Why do we do that? So I'm going to let y'all ponder that for just a moment. We're going to take our first break, get a drink of water, and come right back. This is Taradcast. Yo, what's good, everyone? This is your host of Taradcast, Tarad Rashan, and I just want to welcome you to the commercial break. Now, you already know what time it is. It's hydration time. Get some high-quality H2O in your system now. Got a few things I'd like to go over. First, to all of our new and returning listeners, thank you so much for your ear and your time. To all of our Patreon supporters, I just want you to know that we are not able to do this without your direct support. So the biggest, dopest Taradcast thank you goes out to you. If you're listening in and you're thinking about becoming part of the Taradcast Patreon family, we'd love to have you. You can find us at www.patreon.com/Taradcast. Now on Patreon, we have 3 tiers of support. a $2 tier, a $3 tier, and lastly, a $6 tier. Each tier comes with its own set of unique perks, so if you find one that fits you, sign up. For us, the main thing is keeping our subscription prices affordable. We know that you work hard for your money, and if you choose to support Toradcast this way, we truly want to make it worth your time. To find out more about our Patreon and the perks with each tier, visit www.patreon.com/Toradcast. We've got it all laid out for you. Also, we've got a merchandise store. Pick up some tees, hoodies, leggings, and more at forevercertain.redbubble.com. All proceeds go right back into the Toradcast podcast and allow us to keep making high quality content for people just like you. For our listeners out there who would like to support us in a non-monetary way, we'd love that too. Share our show with people you know. Also, share us on your social media. And if your favorite Toradcast streaming service allows you to rate and review our show and you're loving what you're hearing, take some time and leave us a 5-star review. Ratings and reviews are what set us apart from other podcasts and also helps us to recommend our podcast to other listeners we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to reach. Lastly, if you'd like to reach out to us directly, email us at toradcast@CRTN-T.com. That's toradcast@CRTN-T.com. All of this information can always be found in our episode notes, so make sure to check there if you forget any of the information we just went over. Once again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the program. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Toradcast. Again, I'm your host, Tarad Rashan, and we are going to continue on with the topic. So, when we went on our commercial break, we went out with the mindset of where do people get off with this type of mindset? And this is really the crux of the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic, because oftentimes we are conditioned to think that in this world we have to live for the people who would potentially do the most harm to us, which means that the people who are out here who are the abductors or the abusers or the rapists or, the aggressors. Like, we have to live for these people, and we have to order each step in the mindset of keeping these people in mind. And we've gotten to a point where we as a society want to try and justify the actions of someone based on the stimulus that another person provides. I look at how we are as black parents and black families and whatnot. And the fact that most of our families, because we are the way that we are, we will try and protect or sweep under the rug the actions of, that one uncle or that one person that is known for touching little kids. And so we've come up with the excuse of, in order to protect them, like, oh, you need to tell your daughter or, tell such and such not to wear these things in front of, Uncle so-and-so, or, not to dance like that or whatever, in front of Uncle so-and-so, because we're trying to protect Uncle pedophile. And I don't get that. It's like, nah, either he needs to get beat down or he needs to be excommunicated from the family so he doesn't show up, because ain't no reason for, any kid to be afraid or have to feel like they have to be a certain way or they have to be regulated in a certain way in order to not provoke this particular uncle. And that's one of the things that a lot of families struggle with, because, y'all love people so much. And it's just like, nah, some people have some stuff that they need to work out on their own, and they need to be able to do that. So that way, if they are going to be a part of this functioning family, they're not over here, causing all types of trauma to kids. And so, one of the things that I've also, come across in my, just in my living, is the fact that a lot of kids love to dance. And one of the biggest things that we tend to put onto a child is this unmitigated sexuality, where if a child is dancing or if they are doing moves that we would think that a grown person is supposed to be doing or whatever, we automatically assign sexuality to the child, when in the child's head it's just a funny dance, or it's just a funny move, or they've seen they're replicating doing it. It's the same thing as a 1-year-old, 2-year-old child, being brought into a church and looking around, seeing everybody's hands up and their eyes closed, and they do it too, because they're like, oh, I can do this too. So as they grow, as children grow, we continue to see them, mimicking and copying what we do. And especially in the world of dance, because I've seen a lot of dance videos where choreographers have people of all ages doing their choreography. And it's really, really cool. It's really, really cool to watch. And some of these people that you see are like, children, like 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old children. Some of them are teenagers, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, and some of them are adults too. And so you see them all doing the same moves. And the thing is, with us in our adult brain, and this is for the majority of us, we see sex as something so taboo, where if something even looks like it, we're cringing and we're pointing and we're saying, don't do that. I even look at my little girl. She loves to dance, and she's actually learning how to like move her little hips and whatnot. And it's the cutest thing. And the thing is, I let her do it because she thinks it's fun. She thinks it's funny. She doesn't have the mindset that I have as an adult, where I'm just so tainted and jaded and we're just looking for things to be afraid of. She doesn't have that. She is new to this world. And so she thinks that her doing these things is something that for her it's fun. It's funny. Her body moves in this direction and she's the one in control of it. And for me, I don't see anything wrong with that. And so the thing is, if somebody tells me, like if I'm somewhere and somebody tells me that I need to get my daughter, I need to whoop my daughter for the moves that she's doing, because, so-and-so, don't need to be seeing her doing that, or she don't need to be doing that around these men, I'm coming after all the men in this room, and also all the women in this room who love these men, who have allowed them to be unchecked for this amount of time, because that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all for them to be for people to be trying to police my daughter, who is a toddler, who does not think with the same mind that you do, and to think that I have to police her because grown ass people can't control themselves, or they just start thinking things, and it, and so you're silently condoning this mindset, and you want to protect these men and these other family members, as opposed to the innocence of my child. I'm coming after you because there is no way in hell I am going to keep my daughter from being able to express herself in a way where when she does it, she does not do it with the mindset that we have as adults. She's doing it for fun. There is no way in hell she's thinking about sex or sexuality, but we want to add that to our children because we are the ones who are so jaded, and when it comes, we are the ones who are still under this taboo of sex, and we want to just assign that even to kids. And I'm like, what? And that is a sign of being a people of a mindset that is very repressed, because there's a lot of things that we do not give ourselves the freedom or the exploration to do, and because we are so fearful, we think that anything that even looks like that, especially coming from someone that is not old enough to understand it, red flags go up. We get so scared, and we don't even realize that, kids are they're just being kids. They're going to do what they do. And so even getting to a point where we are putting them in a position to where they have to look out over their shoulders, for pedophiles or, abductors and things like that. We're going to end up limiting their growth because they're not going to ever feel like they can ever be free. And so it's up to us to create these atmospheres and to create these places where our kids, our children can feel free. So that way they don't have to live as if they have to look over their shoulder, and we need to be the ones who are being their advocate during these times because they look up to us. We are the ones who have brought them here and we're the ones who are responsible for teaching them. And so being the necessary teachers that they need, but also allowing them to express themselves to the fullest is what is going to create that balance as they grow up into young adults. And I don't want anybody that I physically have the ability to lay my hands on being any type of determining factor in how my child decides to express themselves. Because if anything, that person can leave or that person can get beat down. Either one, take your pick. But you putting your thoughts on my child or you putting, your limited thinking patterns on my child doesn't fly. And I'm not about to allow somebody else to impact the way that my child expresses herself because she is new to this world and she doesn't have the mind that you have. And so I'm not about to let that happen. And if there is an uncle or an auntie so-and-so in the midst who's known for doing some stuff, either I'm just not going to come over or they're going to get what's coming to them because I don't have the time. I don't have the time. This is teaching our children to live for the wrong people. And they're not even old enough to cognitively understand what that means. We are the ones who are supposed to be the protectors. We are the ones who are supposed to be creating the environment that allows them to be free and to be themselves always. We are the ones responsible for doing that. And so why is it that we allow all of the wrong people to continue living alongside of us while we continue to modify how we move in order to not provoke them? Why is that? Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we do that? I don't know. Maybe because we feel like we don't have enough power against that kind of thing, I don't know, but it makes me think about the fact that, if women are out here and they're trying to have a good time, I just want them to have a good time. Oh yeah, I'm going to look. I want to make sure that this entire package that's being put together is just magnificent. But at the same time, I'm going to allow you your space. I'm going to allow you to just be who you want to be and be who you are in this moment without any type of fear or repercussion or slander or anything like that. If you don't want to talk, you don't want to talk. All right, I'll keep it moving. It's not that hard. I don't have this overwhelming desire to just snatch you up and just, overpower you or anything like that. That's not me. And that's not going to be triggered from me based on what you're wearing. But there are a lot of men out here who use that as an excuse to try and exert power over a person that they think they can overpower. And that's the weakest shit I've ever heard, the weakest shit I've ever seen, because you have such a power complex and you want to just exert yourself over someone. You run the risk of hurting, abusing, raping someone because your fragile ego can't handle it and you have to get your power back. You are the kind of person that deserves to be stomped by 50 Tims all at once because I don't get you. I don't understand you. The fact that women have to live their lives according to people like you is disgusting, So we're going to jump back into this. I'm going to take our last commercial break and then we're going to just wrap all this up because this is one of those episodes that I think the more I talk about, the more angrier I get. So I have to tie a bow on it. So I hope you also have your water close by, take a drink, and we'll be right back after this last break. This is Toradcast. All right, y'all. We are back from our commercial break. And what I really want to focus on during the last remaining moments of this particular show is, why is it that we do not hold accountable the very people that others are feeling like they have to lead their lives in fear of? Why don't we actually hold those people accountable as far as, putting them in their place or keeping them away from certain people or certain events? Why don't we ever focus on removing the actual source of the problem from the situation, so that way those who they could potentially affect aren't affected by them? What is the purpose in keeping those people around? And sometimes I wonder if it has to do with a specific set of situations that maybe they were involved in, and because they showed up and helped or assisted or saved someone, now we feel like we owe it to them to always have them around, even though they're a bit messed up in the head as far as how they think about people and how they think about children. Like, I wonder if that's it, I mean, I know some of these conversations can probably dive into like family secrets and whatnot, but I do not believe it is worth sacrificing a child's innocence and a child's way of thinking and their wonder in order to, appease this adult who just so happens to have some tendencies that attract them to children, And this is another thing. It's like, I remember seeing, pictures of like, young girls dressed up, in like, bathing suits and whatnot, and parents commenting saying that, I wouldn't let my child wear this, or, just different outfits that, new stores are starting to, put out on the shelves, and they're saying, oh, my child ain't never going to wear this or whatever. And, the fact that people were saying this, and, they're assigning this sexuality towards a child. And it's just like, the way that I think about, pedophiles is the fact that it's not even what the child is wearing. It's just the fact that they are a child and they have the ability to, basically manipulate them or guide them or groom them or whatever the case may be. That's the thing that they are focused on. It's not the fact that this child is doing something or wearing something that exudes sex. It's the fact that this is a child. They're saying that they are attracted to this child, and they want to basically be this influence, this source of power, this source of knowledge over this child in all ways. And it's one of those things where it's just like, when I think about it, I'm just like, I don't understand how someone's mind can do that and actually be okay with that. But there are people like this out here. And the thing is, we are not doing enough as people to address these issues and to remove the actual problem from the situation, as opposed to forcing our children to be limited in their ways of expression in order to not trigger, Uncle Pedophile over here. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand that, And again, even with how we look at women as well, we say, oh, she wouldn't have got beaten if she wasn't wearing that. She wouldn't have got raped if she wasn't wearing that. I'm like, why is it that women have to also live for the wrong people? They have to live for the potential person that they could reject, laying their hands on them or trying to rape them or something like that. Like, what is the purpose of doing that? All we're doing is just glorifying actual male weakness. And the fact that we have to have this consistent way of showing that we're powerful. And it's just like, no, these are things that we still have yet to understand. And we're allowing our weak ass emotions to carry us in these types of interactions, you know? And it's like, why is it that women who dress a certain way automatically get labeled as hoe, or, you know, their treatment, if they are treated wrong, or if they are treated with less respect, you know, it's automatically warranted because of the way that they're dressing? Why is it that we believe that women even have to live life for the wrong people? You know, the fact that women can't walk around at night because there are men out here who are, you know, likely to try and scoop them up or do something to them. Like, what sense does that make? The fact that we continue to be the most ignorant breed of people out here. Because we don't know how to control ourselves. We don't know how to look at a situation and understand that this is still a full person. Like, we just become these insatiable beasts all of a sudden whenever we're triggered. I don't get it. I don't understand. The fact that we have women and children out here feeling like they have to live for the wrong people at all times is sickening. And it is a sign that this world that we're living in really isn't all that great. And I hate the fact that it's not. I really do. But in closing, I just wanted to just kind of tie this up a little bit more, because, you know, this is a situation that to me, it's very personal, because I have a daughter and I'm going to do everything I can to protect my daughter. And as she grows up, as she sees things, as she experiences things, she is going to be a person that is going to be unafraid in sharing those things with us and sharing those things with other people. And so the moment that I see that another person isn't able to handle this, or they're trying to tell me that my daughter shouldn't be doing a certain thing, I'm going to have to be the one to step up and say, you know what? Hey, listen, this is a child. Do not put that on my child, because I'm going to have the problem with you the way that you're having the problem with her. And if you have a problem with her, you have a problem with me. So I'm not about to limit my daughter and her ability to express herself, because there are people out here who do not know how to accept what's being presented, and they want to add extra stuff to it that isn't even necessary. So I'm not about to have my daughter living for all the wrong people. If anything, she's going to be strapped up, she's going to have a mace, and she's going to know how to, you know, break somebody down, because we don't have time for that. We don't. And I'm not about to have her moving as if she has to watch over her shoulder at every waking moment, because there are a lot of people out here who actually just want to do good, way more than people who want to do evil things. And so I'm not about to let that minority of people be the determining factor in how she goes about her life and makes her decisions. So with that being said, y'all, I just want to thank you all once again for listening. You all know where to find us. You all know how to support us. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review when you get the chance. As always, I want to encourage you all to be more introspective and vulnerable with yourself. Know who you are, trust in who you are, and love who you are. Again, I just want to thank all of you for listening and for giving me your ear and your time today. I appreciate that. And you already know we're typically here Sundays or Mondays, just depending on the day that, you know, we get this recorded. But I've been your host, Tarad Rashan, and this has been another episode of Taradcast. And as we always say, I hope that you all take every moment to find and keep your peace. So with that being said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and we'll hit you up next time. Till then.